More than 300 million people worldwide live with a rare disease which can often go undiagnosed. Identifying that disorder is a costly, time-consuming process that many families can't afford. A well-known American cyclist from Charlottesville and his wife are holding an event this Saturday for their charity called Olivia's Light. It's named for their infant daughter who died last year to help families facing what amounts to a double tragedy, a sick child with no means to help. Cycling fans will recognize my guest, Ben King. He's competed professionally in Europe in the Tour de France, for example, and in the UCI World Championships right here in Richmond in 2015, but who in retirement now faces an even bigger challenge. Ben, welcome, and again, my condolences for your loss.
Thank you, Bill, and thank you for having me on tonight.
It is a pleasure to have you. So tell us about Olivia.
Olivia was born in July. She was just a sweet little baby girl, and we had no idea that anything was wrong with her until a few hours after her birth, when she had her first life-threatening apneic episode. That landed us in the NICU. We spent time here at VCU until a bed opened up for her at UVA. We were in a NICU for 2.5 months before we could bring her home. We brought her home, fortunately, with a diagnosis.
And that diagnosis took time to get. It did. You said it took more than a month.
It did. We came to learn that UVA is actually one of the only hospitals, one of 2 hospitals in Virginia that does the specific type of test that was able to diagnose Olivia. So up until that point, the doctors were just guessing a lot. Most of them told us that she would likely outgrow her condition and be fine to go home. And we were being encouraged actually to get comfortable enough with her complexities to bring her home. But my wife's from New Jersey, and she's a fighter, and wasn't afraid to fight with the doctors
so how
advocate.
did the testing come about that actually revealed her genetic mutation, for example?
Because
that was something you had to ask for, that, hey, if this is something, these conditions,
we didn't know
symptoms.
that it existed, and that's one of the reasons that we wanted to start Olivia's Light, the 501c3, in part to fund the testing for families who are denied coverage by their medical insurances, because it is viewed in the medical community as a relatively new technology, although it's been around for 10 years, and thanks to AI is advancing rapidly. The known gene sequences are expanding daily.
Well, and it seems like you were able to access that because your wife demanded it. You were near UVA. You were able to get, family could help you with childcare for your son, who's was 2 years old, I guess, at the time, or almost 2. That shed a light for you that there are other families that don't have access to that.
Sure. I mean, we met a lot of the families who were there in the hospitals with us. Some of them were coming from out of state because we have great hospitals here, and they were coming to get the best care that they could. We were fortunate to end up at UVA where they were able to diagnose Olivia, which opened the door to even more support because it was a very difficult, almost impossible thing to go through for my wife and I. But with the diagnosis, we qualified for Medicaid, for financial support, for at-home nursing care. Palliative care got involved, and eventually hospice, which I can't imagine having to go through something as difficult as that without that type of support. But these families who are, maybe out of state and have to keep working because medical.
Because you had made plans to retire before her birth,
Sure.
and it struck you that it's a full-time job for both you and your wife tending to Olivia.
It was. I made the decision to end a 15-year professional cycling career in May, anticipating her birth, and just to move back to Virginia and live a more stable lifestyle rather than flying around the world as much as I was. And thanks to the support of my team at the time, I was allowed to stay in America. They didn't ask me to come back to Europe to end the season with a daughter in the NICU, so I was able to be 100% present for her. My wife and I took turns at the NICU, and we were there all day, every day.
That must have been such a traumatic moment. Tell us about this event this weekend up in Ashland at the Center of the Universe Brewing Company.
That's right. So we actually The first Ride Home Roads event was in 2019. Participants had a blast. We decided last year to bring it back. We had to postpone the event last year due to Olivia's condition. But now we're hitting it in 2023 with a renewed purpose. Thanks to...
There are ride options, right? But there's a whole lot more. It's a whole day event.
Exactly. We have a 17, 45, and a 63-mile route. But we know that not everyone who might want to attend is a cyclist. The after party is going to be awesome. We have a lot of people just coming for the after party. Free Union is the band that's playing the after show.
That starts at noon? That
starts at noon. We'll have food and drinks, an auction, and a chance to get to meet some really cool people in the community. So this is all thanks to our sponsors like Allianz Partners, Kenmore Envelopes. We couldn't be doing this without them, and thanks to their support, all the community support, your support for having me on tonight to get to talk about this.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you. I'm going to put all of this information on our website, so if you at home would like to donate to Olivia's Light, we'll have that information there. It's oliviaslight.org, and as you see on your screen there are the details for the ride, and once again, we'll put that on our website, WTVR.com. Ben King, again, our condolences. But thank you so much for coming in and talking to us.
Thank you. Registration for the cycling event is Ride Home Roads on Bike Reg for both the rides and the after party. So.
And I think you also have a link at Olivia's Light. All right, we'll send it out to Zach.
All right, Bill, you can do that 70-mile race. I'll be at the after party there to greet you.